How's it going, ladies and Bruce's up? I'm Sixkilla. Welcome back to the VII Enigma. We are very close to the end now. You know, if you've been following along, you know where we're at. Let's just continue and see if we get to the end here. Because somehow we are planning to storm Bosk Tower to save Ica and the others, and get Elijah to build a machine to block all the Tempest machines, which he doesn't even know is even theoretically possible in like 3 days. Tall order, I must admit, but we'll see. The next morning, Mia arrives back from the city as the group gathers to hear a report. Well done getting back safely, Mia. It wouldn't have been easy navigating the streets at the moment. Had plenty of practice. You get good at staying hidden after a while. How'd you go, Mia? You said you had allies throughout the city. Are they prepared to join us in the fight? I don't know how to say this. Mia's eyes are downcast as she's held back from speaking any further by the confusion within her. It's okay, sweetie, you can do it. They're all dead. All of them. All of them? Yeah. Apparently that Becker guy went around and rounded up every single one of them. No way. There were strange reports from some of the locals too. What kind of strange reports? That they didn't even fight back. They just obeyed their orders, in some cases lying still without restraints on. That sounds just like the other story you told us. I wonder what this all means. I have no idea. I don't even know how Bosk knew to go after them all in the first place. It is Bosk we're speaking about. While they have the Tempest system, we just have to assume that they'd be privy to all sorts of info sent from the future. So we're all alone then, the four of us against all of Bosk. It's crazy. It'll take a miracle from here. It will, but like the founder said, it was always going to take a miracle, even from the start. The fact that we're still here moving forward means that, in a way, we're still on track. Well, that's one way to look at it. Where even is the founder in all this? He was supposed to be there for us, to guide us through all this. We haven't heard from him since that last message in the facility, and that was ages ago. Now we're alone in the dark. Don't know what his plan was, but we can't keep relying on him. We'll have to find our own way from here. If he hasn't found a way to contact us, then there isn't anything we can do. After all, we can't send messages forward to contact him. It's impossible. That future no longer exists now, that he has sent those messages. So we really are alone then. The four spend the next moments in silence, before Elijah suddenly raises his voice. Wait. What did you just say, Amelia? Huh? That timeline no longer exists. No, before that you said we can't send messages forward. Yeah, I know. Isn't that right? Of course it's right. It's impossible to send messages forward. I can't believe it didn't occur to me earlier. I'm not following. And if it's right, then why are you acting so excited about it? I'm excited because of the why. Do you know why? Yeah, I literally just said because the future it is from has been erased. Elijah adopts an intense stance as he begins attempting to explain his newfound revelation in his ecstatic state. Right, the entanglement only works to communicate backwards for that reason. You know what happens if you try to send the message forward regardless? We don't, but it sounds like you're about to tell us. If you try to send a message forward, it fails obviously. It also has a slight destabilizing effect on its entanglement. The future doesn't exist yet, so neither does the partner particle. That's why the process only works backwards across time. Because in that direction, both particles have been determined. You can say for certain where they both are. I'm kind of following. Can you simplify a bit for us? When you send information backwards, you shift the observer from the present to the past, which is why time is essentially reversed. The old future becomes like a probability wave that is now collapsed, just like in Schrodinger's cat box, or in the double slit experiment. Despite a web of potentials, things are reduced to a single reality. It's similar to a collapsed superposition, only the new information is preserved. I guess Elijah is just ranting to himself now. Ignoring their confusion, Elijah carries on in an inspired fashion. However, when you attempt to send information forward in time, there isn't even a probability wave to collapse. There is no determined particle to interact with. The future is undetermined. So that destabilizes the particle in the current time? By trying, what you actually do is scatter and unentangle the particles it would have been entangled with in the future. Which means... Okay, this is the simple trick. By attempting to send a message forwards, you can disrupt the particles that would have been used to send the information backwards. In this way, you're blocking the mechanism to send messages backwards. You could use this principle to disrupt Tempest communications. That I actually understood. So if you send one big message forwards, you end up breaking up the ability to send information backwards. Kind of. It isn't that simple. We need to unentangle enough Tempest particles across our temporal horizon to be sure to block all possibility of communication from the future. One big message isn't going to do it. How would you do it then? I need to do the math, but I need to affect enough of the entangled pairs to ensure complete corruption of any file attempt to be sent through. And how would you do that? I need to send trillions and trillions of very small messages forward to every moment over the next few hundred years. That's why it didn't occur to me sooner. That would ensure, from the moment we deploy onwards, that enough of the entangled particles would be broken apart to make communication backwards impossible. At least for that time period, anyway. Trillions and trillions? Can that even be done? Yes. It'd just require a sophisticated bit of programming to sequence it, and then quite a long time for the software to load them all in. But it's possible. Would the message take long to send? No, sending the message itself is instantaneous. That isn't the issue. The issue is the computing time for the sequence, to sequence them for the Tempest field. So let me get this straight. You've come up with a way to disrupt the Tempest system, but it'll take a while for the computer to load. That's right, we send that information back, so that we've got more time. You could have just said that the very first time and saved us 10 minutes. Jeez. So I gotta admit, it's amazing you come up with a way to do it, Elijah. Do you think you could do it before our deadline is up to rescue Iker, Jasper and Levi? No, not that quickly. It'll take weeks, maybe even months to sequence correctly. Months? So what, we just give up rescuing it? Is that what you're saying? Not at all. Don't forget we have this Tempest machine here. Of course. I can load the sequencing as it computes straight into the message, then send it back with the logs to keep track of the process. We can repeat the process until we have all the sequencing complete. Elijah, you're a genius. I mean, yeah, he is. Without the Tempest system, Bosk will be vulnerable. Then we could storm the tower and try to get Iker back and the others. Yes, and even if we fail to rescue them, which, to be honest, is still highly likely, we can die knowing we first cut the head off the snake. I think a kamikaze mission is fitting to end all this anyway. At least you played our part, giving humanity some hope to take them out sometime in the future. Exactly. Alright, let's do this. It's time for us to get to work. While I do that, you make the preparations for the rescue. Right. With renewed vision, the group scatters as they embark to put their final plans into motion. February 10th, it's the last day. So presumably it's all done then. The next afternoon, the group gathers around Pandora's box as Elijah fills them in on their progress. Okay, I began the process. I've started running the calculations and loaded them into the message with logs ready to go. How much did you get done? This first day I had to lay the groundwork for the subsequent loops. That's complete and ready to send back. Now on the other loops, it's essentially just be letting the unit run to do the computations. The last chance to make the rescue is tonight. I guess we'll have to send the message back now then. How far back will you send it? Why not just not rescue them until it's done, then send it back when it's done, and then rescue them? I don't know. The earliest we could send it back is to when we first arrived here after we had Pandora's box plugged in and switched on. But I don't want to go back that far and erase that moment. What if it never happens on the next loop after we change it? What's with the face, Elijah? What are you thinking? Oh, just trying to think of the best time to send the message to. It'd make the most sense to send it back to after I had my revelation yesterday. That way I wouldn't need to explain it from scratch, meaning it's more likely to go smoothly on the other loops. This is awkward. It's not untrue what I said, but I hope they don't sniff out my other reason. I'd only give you about 30 hours to work on it at each loop. Are you sure that's enough? Doesn't really make any difference either way or less. Either way, less loops with more time on each, more loops with less time on each, the outcome is the same. It just means we don't have to rely on our past selves understanding the plan and relying on crafting the perfect message. It takes one variable out of the equation. That makes sense. Alright then, sounds like a plan. We'll send it back 30 hours with instructions to loop until it is complete. Phew, they didn't sniff it out. Alright, before we do this, we have to be sure we want to proceed in this way. We're initiating the first loop. The others will likely follow our instructions, assuming we've thought through it all. Are we certain we want to proceed in this way? Yeah, I don't see why not. It makes the most sense, doesn't it? But we'll save. Start the looping. This isn't the time to hesitate. It's the only option we have left. We've explored all other options, even sending messages back far earlier time periods. Each other choice available to us runs an even greater risk. Unseen risk. This is our only path forward. Okay, as long as you're sure, I trust you, Elijah. Elijah looks on kindly at Zyla. Thank you, Zyla. Alright, break it up, you two. Jeez. Is there anything else we have to do? No, it's all ready to go. Do it, Elijah. Elijah places his hand down on the device, activating the sequence. But even if we get it done, I mean, yeah, they still have that Project AEON thing, which is obviously like mass mind control thing. From here, the group continues the cycle. Looping again and again, slowly but surely the computational data accumulates until completion. (10:56 AM, February 9th. In the workshop the morning before, Elijah has just had his revelation of how to disrupt Tempest communications, and is about to get started on his idea for the first time. It's time for me to get to work. While I do that, you make the preparations for the rescue. Right. What's that sound? It's coming from Pandora's box. The group stormed back to the back room, eager to learn the cause of the alarm. Elijah rushes to the machine as he squints to read the information off the screen. No way. It's a message sent back from tomorrow afternoon. What does it say? Let's see. Elijah navigates the menus of the machine before both his eyebrows are raised in surprise. So this isn't the first loop at all. Elijah, what is it? It's the logs. It's already done. What's done? The process I just told you about. It looks like this isn't the first loop of this plan at all. In fact, from these logs it looks like we're on the 42nd loop. 42nd loop? What does that mean? I'm not quite following, Elijah. You know what I was just telling you about my idea to disrupt Tempest communications and my plan to use as many loops as possible to allow the computation to complete? Yeah? Well, it looks like that's now been finished. According to the logs, the computation was completed on the last loop and sent back one final time so we could make the final preparations. No way, we were just talking about it. We just saw you come up with the idea for the first time not 2 minutes ago. It just seems strange. Like it's a little too convenient. It would seem that way to us now, sure, but only because we're the beneficiaries of the process. For the other 41 loops, they got the info, continued their part, and then sent it back. If any of the other loops had failed their part, we wouldn't be here right now. Still, it's just weird. I didn't even notice a shift or anything, it just feels surreal. Many quantum laws operate in a way that we don't even notice. That's exactly what the Tempest field is. That feeling you're having now, that surreal and confronting fear, I know it well from my experiences on the other loops. What you experienced just now is the scary reality of the power that comes from this technology, a power whose effect you can't even detect. That's the reason we need to get rid of it and stop Bosk time manipulating. You're right. That kind of power no human should be able to wield. That's true. So what is this plan then? Should we deploy it now that it's finished? Elijah pauses and takes some time to think. What do you think, Zala? You know what needs to be done from here. I think we deploy it after we finish preparations for our rescue. Once we take out the ability to use the Tempest system, you'd think Bosk will quickly notice. We should deploy it last, just before we leave. We have until tomorrow evening to do that. That should be enough time. Right then, here's the plan. Amelia, Mia and myself will come up with a strategy to route to break into Bosk Tower and rescue the others. Elijah, you use the time to check over the information you've received and ensure it's working, ready to send. We will deploy, then move out tomorrow at 5 PM sharp. Right, it all comes down to this then, I guess. On the penultimate day of their journey, the small band of rebels make their final preparations in the dingy workshop of the western sector. They're filled with both hope and trepidation for what they expect to be their final act upon this earth. It's very likely. Dad? Huh? Raya? Raya, is that really you? Dad, where are you? I'm just here, can't you hear me? Why haven't you come for me, Daddy? What do you mean? Please don't forget me, Daddy. I could never forget you, never. I keep praying that one day you'll come back for me. Please, I hope you haven't forgotten our promise. But where are you? I'll be waiting for you, Daddy, however long it takes. Raya, no, don't go. I hope these prayers reach you. I'll be right here waiting. No, come back. Don't go. Not again. Goodbye, Daddy. I'll see you again, I swear it. Somehow. Wait for me, Raya. As the final night of their journey passes, with it comes another haunting apparition to Elijah. Yet even as Elijah awakes, one single reverberating thought sticks with him. I'm coming for you, Raya. (4:55 PM, February 10th. Alright, we're about to head out. Gathering for the final time, the four stand ready and resolute, making final checks ahead of their final mission. So are we ready? Everyone done final weapon checks? All good here. How do you release the safety on this model? Gee, guess we better hope you aren't caught alone needing to use that thing. Don't worry, our skills will take care of you. Zala takes the gun and gives a quick demonstration. Thanks. Okay, we're as prepared as we'll ever be. Except Elijah. There's just one final thing to do now. Turn the machine on. The four look on toward Pandora's box as it looms as a solitary figure encapsulating the fullness of its namesake. It's all you, Elijah. Elijah walks forward toward the machine and activates the terminal. Looking at the machine, he hesitates, wearing a complicated expression on his face as he turns to address the group. Once we send this, there will truly be no turning back. We won't only be stopping Bosk's ability to change the past, but our own also. We will be locked into whatever future we face with no way back. Are we sure this is the best way forward? The silence falls over them as the final opportunity to back out of their plan presents itself. If we want to go with plan B and send the message to 2043, this is the last opportunity. That chance will be lost forever once we disrupt the temple system. No more second chances, no time altering. Everything from here will be eternally final. I'll ask again. Are we sure this is the way forward we want? Kinda tempting to take the other option. We're basically marching to certain death whatever we do once we disrupt the temple system. Whether we try to rescue the others or not, Bosk is gonna hunt us down. That's basically a given. Gotta admit, staring down death like this makes the whole 2043 option seem a whole lot better to me. Elijah pauses in deep contemplation. If we disrupt the temple system now, it'll mean that all of us, including Zyla, will be dead forever. We'll almost certainly be killed. It almost feels like we're cursed no matter what we choose. At the moment of the final decision, there's only one decision. If we send the message to 2043, we already know what happens. I'm still of the mind to disrupt the temper system and go with our original plan. I just need you all to understand the gravity of what we're doing here. Any objections? The room is filled with a claustrophobic silence. Okay then, it's decided. No looking back. Once I hit this button, we should get out of here quickly. I can't encrypt this kind of large-scale message, so it'll probably end up alerting Bosk to our location. Okay, everyone be ready to follow me once it's sent. I've memorized the route. Alright. Okay, here we go. Elijah forces his hand down as the loud swelling hum of Pandora's box fires up. Loading, loading. Elijah mumbles to himself as he watches the machine work. Send. Any way to check it's worked? I'll test it by trying to send a message back a few minutes to see if it goes through. With frantic finger speed, Elijah attempts to send a single sentence message to the past. It's coming up with a Tempest Field synchronization error. Looks like we did it. Yes! Alright team, great job. First part of our mission is complete. We've done something truly remarkable and stopped Bosk's most powerful weapon. That alone, everyone would have considered impossible. But I don't want to resign ourselves to death so easily. Let's live. Let's get our friends back and look for a life beyond tonight. Yeah. Zyla looks at Elijah, triggering in his mind the promise he has made to Zyla and his motivation to go on fighting. Right. We've no time for delay, so listen carefully. At all times, follow me. I'll lead from the front of the pack. Mia will take the rear, as she's the next best trained fighter. Got it. At no point will we split up, so don't be tempted to run diversion. Stay close and fight as one unit. And we'll make a dash from here to the nearest tunnel entrance. We'll use the tunnels again to approach Bosk Tower without being spotted. I've memorized the route, but no doubt the tunnels have better surveillance due to their recent activities, so stay sharp. From there, we'll enter the tower from underneath using a stealth approach to find the holding cell of Iker, Jasper and Levi. I only use weapons as an absolute last resort. Our best chance of success is to be in and out without being heard or spotted. Right. Okay, we ready? Move out! Bursting out with great speed, the group fires out from the workshop, down a nearby shaft and into the tunnel systems. Running down the damp tunnels, a sense of nostalgia overtakes Elijah in the midst of the countering adrenaline. Back to where it all began. So much has happened since then. I wonder if this is really the end of our journey. Turning down a dark side tunnel, Zyla breaks Elijah's thoughts with an abrupt call. Stop! The group halts in their tracks. Looks like they have a new camera installed ahead. We'll have to work our way back around to avoid it. Follow me. The group twists among the tunnels with great speed toward their target. Okay, we should be back on track. Rounding another corner, they emerge right in front of a patrolling officer. With a sudden and vicious swing, Zyla connects a strong right hand to the stomach of the officer before he can get his gun to the ready. The officer winces in pain, but through laboured breath he fumbles to fire his gun. With a split-second decision to make, Zyla retaliates with... we should just kill him. Seeing the officer reach for his gun, Zyla decides to do likewise. She quickly tries to unholster it when... The officer beats her to the punch. Aw man, I got us killed. Xyla? Xyla! Dead end. We don't want him waking up and catching us on our way back. I presume we're coming back this way, right? Bad end 12. Man, how many bad ends are there? Beaten to the punch. Shot in the face. Now I'm dead. See you later. Reload. A round of her own, a swift follow-up punch. Xyla, seeing him reach for his gun, quickly lets off a firm right hand uppercut, striking flush on the chin. The hit lays him down on the floor before Xyla follows up with a violent left boot to the head. The kick finishes the job. The officer sprawled out on the floor, completely unconscious. Whoa. Quick, let's move quickly before he wakes up. That's why we're going to finish the job. The group continues their dizzying voyage through the tunnels, eventually reaching their infiltration point. This is our exit ahead. Can't see any surveillance, at least not here. That's good. Probably because we aren't coming up directly through the bottom of the tower. That'd be far too obvious. We're coming up a little further over, then going through the small supply hatch to make it across the underground section of the tower. Get ready. We'll be crawling for a while. Let's go. Having climbed the service ladder, the group is now on knees and elbows, edging their way through the small snaking tunnel toward the tower. Any idea what to expect when we make it to the tower? Not exactly. It's not information they hand out. We need to stay sharp and improvise to a degree. I'm good with that at least. After a great deal of time edging their way through the tight service hatch, the group drop into a strange incline, towering before them. Whoa. What is this? That's our way up into the tower. This is an air vent, probably designed like that so people like us can't scurry up it. How are we going to make it up there? It looks impossible to climb. Don't worry, I came prepared. Xyla reveals a small grappling hook from his side pouch. Now to get it secured. Taking several attempts, Xyla hears the sound she's waiting on. Checking the tension on the line, Xyla prepares to make her way up. I'll go up first, Mia, you go up last. The walls are steep, but you should be able to get a good enough footing to take the weight off your arms. Just watch how I do it. Okay, got it. Navigating with great skill, Xyla swiftly makes it to the top. Elijah has the most trouble out of the four, but nonetheless they all manage to climb as they continue to infiltrate their way into the tower. Having made their way out through the vent and into the tower, they emerge in a large, barren and straight hallway. So this is Boss Tower, huh? It's so lifeless. And this hall looks way too exposed. Yeah, this isn't good. There's nowhere to hide at all. There isn't another way, Xyla? No. That was the only feasible way in. Let's just move quickly and get out of this passageway at first opportunity. There has to be a more discreet route that runs toward the detention blocks. I agree. Let's move and get out of here as quickly as possible. The four continue their journey at pace. They seek a way out of the main passageway, when after some time, they stumble upon a smaller access corridor. This way. The next hallway they reach, although smaller than the last, is nonetheless not conducive to remaining hidden. It's so quiet and empty. Something about this feels off. You're right. We need to find a way to quickly locate the detention block. Yeah, if we can find a console around here, there may be a way for us to locate them. Searching the strange and dimly lit passage, the group follow the path around the corner. Suddenly they hear the sound they fear the most, a cutting voice that intercepts their path. Stop! Don't move! A large troop of officers and Agent Beckett swarm the group on all sides, having rushed them from all around the bend. No. Well, this is a familiar situation. I could have sworn this is history repeating itself. It's good to see you again, Dr. Shaw. Beckett. Although unlike last time, this time we are prepared. There will be no escape. Hands up where I can see them, or we shoot without hesitation. For a second, Mia doesn't respond, looking to Xyla for a cue for retaliation. Don't try anything stupid like last time. You're surrounded with no escape. Xyla responds by putting her hands in the air and a gentle shake of the head backward toward Mia, as the rest of the group follow suit. Damn it. Did you really think you could get anywhere near this tower without us seeing you approaching? I did expect you to come here tonight, that much was obvious. So you really think you could infiltrate this tower without being detected? Well, I expect better from you. Well, we already infiltrated one of your facilities before, so we do have experience, or did you forget how you lost Elijah in the first place? The sneering comment from Amelia causes Beckett to pause as he sizes her up. Looks like lightning didn't strike twice for you then, obviously. Your little game of rebellion ends here. Soon you'll see the true power of the Bureau and realize how foolish this whole charade has been. Sorry to disappoint you, but in case you haven't realized, you've lost your greatest weapon now. Even if it isn't us right now, it's just a matter of time before someone else topples Bosk. You bastards will get what you deserve for what you did to Pfizer. Oh, is that what you think? You really think the temper system was Bosk's greatest weapon? Well then, You will find what Lionel has waiting for you to be quite the treat. What are you saying? You'll experience it yourself soon enough. This is what you get for defying the Bureau. Sooner or later it catches up with everyone who tries. This is your just punishment. Do you really believe that? The Bosks themselves have that kind of power? Before Beckett is able to turn away, Elijah calls out in an emotional voice. Or is it just because of cowards like you groveling in fear? Bosk is nothing without the people that serve their plans. Bosk has nothing apart from the power they've stolen, or that people have handed over to them. You know nothing. Bosk's power is absolute whether I serve them or not. How I respond to that truth just determines what kind of life I get to live. Any other mindset is fantasy, just idealism, and in its most egregious. Every life I've ever seen reflects that truth, and yours shortly will also reflect. Anyway, I've had enough of your childish babbling. You're just a coward. Officers, give them a thorough search and scan for weapons and gadgets of all sorts. Then bring them before Lionel at the appointed time. Yes, sir. Let me tell you this, Dr. Shaw. It's not mine nor your opinion that matters, but what is true, what is real. That is what we have to orientate to our in life, and what anyone with any sense should do. I'm sick of people who think otherwise. Your vain and childish struggle against reality ends here. You're about to experience the truth of what I'm saying for yourself. Beckett leaves the scene without hesitation as the group is bound and led away by the surrounding officers. This may not be the last episode after all. I mean, we gotta see this mind control shit in action, right? The group is brought and bound in a large cavernous hall at the top of the tower. Before them is a scene that resembles a theatrical drama, with all the elements arrayed in religious-like spectacle, such as reflects the twisted and overinflated ego of the one who what the fuck is that word? Isn't it? Overhead looms a spherical device with snaking cords feeding in from behind. That's a different kind of cord, but okay. The sight bringing arachnoid-like compulsions of fear to the fore. Iker, what have they done to you? Although bound, Zyla calls over to Iker as they're reunited in these trying circumstances. I'm okay, we're all okay. Yeah, just a bit stiff is all. Before long, a clear raised platform ascends, bringing Lionel and Beckett towering over the group, as the seven are fanned out, bound before them. You bastards, what did you do to them? Zyla cries out from her bondage toward the figures positioned at the end of the hall, breaking the hallowed silence, as to one calling out, mid-mass to the priest. Oh my, it appears you don't know your place, nor the position you find yourself in, little one. But we should start with introductions. Yes, introductions. Though I already know who you all are. I've kept my eye on you for some time. I should just introduce myself, as you already know Beckett here. My name is Lionel Lewis. Though, for my final anointing, it is better that I take upon myself my true designation. You may refer to me as the one, number 12. Number 12? Wait, Lionel Lewis? He's one of the 12? The head of Niaz Corp? Let me guess, you hijacked the technology to take over Bosk. My, what an accusation for you to be making. I, like all people, have simply used the resources available to me to see my long-held vision finally fulfilled. Sneering eyes survey the bound rebels before him. Quite the spectacle you made for yourself here. Don't you think it's a bit over the top? You Bosk leaders all cultish nuts or something? Over the top, you say? That would imply that the spectacle belies the reality. No, this is every bit fitting such a grand stage. If anything, this doesn't nearly give the grandeur worthy of the final completion of humanity, the arrival of the AEON. Even in Elijah's defiant mood, Lionel's maniacal manner is able to slice through to the core of him, sending a cold wave of shock through his being. You might think you're some great figure, but the fact is, it's just a matter of time for you now. We've cut you off at the knees. Oh, is that so? Are you referring to your little disruption of the Tempest system? Lionel speaks in a mocking manner, one so filled with confidence that it becomes like cold water poured on the prisoners before him. I do admit that wasn't part of our plan, and it was quite the surprise to behold what you managed to pull off. Truth is, we planned to shelve the use of the Tempest system anyway, though only after the AEON had arrived. Though not having use of the Tempest system means little now that the perfect has arrived. Like all things from this passing era, the temper system was just a means to an end. Now that the end has come, we can rejoice and put aside all else. Yes, this is our leap of faith into the new era. How poetic and grand it has become. Lionel's apocalyptic speech begins to weigh heavy on the group as it becomes evident that something is looming overhead. Something more absolute than even the temper system. Something they had not factored in nor conceived of. What do you mean? Something greater than the temper system? Quiet, you weren't given permission to speak. The frustration of Beckett is evident, though the object of his frustration isn't at all obvious. It's quite alright, Agent Beckett. These kinds of displays will soon be a thing of antiquity. As one shouldn't despise the plan of labour, I don't despise their questionings, nor their pain. The pain of labour, sorry. But as the mother rejoices at the birth of the baby, and so her pain is forgotten, they too will soon enter the bliss of the new era, and forget the pain of this former existence. For how could I blame them for acting out of their humanity? No, I should not blame them, but welcome them into their completion, where all will be forgiven. Have you gone crazy? What's wrong with you? I can understand how it would seem that way. When I first received that message through the temper system, it took me quite some time to wrap my head around it also. Though the more I thought on it, the more I realised the inevitability of it all. Yes, this was the hand of fate. This was the birthing of God. Message? Beckett now inquires of Lionel, as a piece of information dropped from Lionel piques his curiosity. Ah yes, this will be the first revelation for all. What better time to declare the truth than here at the end in front of the final witness? Yes, it was around 7 months ago I received a message through the temper system. A message sent from 2099. 2099. Oh, to tell you the thrill of receiving such knowledge. I received through the watches a message addressed to myself that only my neural ID and biometrics could open. I'm sure you can imagine my surprise. Lionel continues his self-indulgent spiel as the rest look on in disgust. What I found was more than I could have possibly imagined. It was I all along who became one of the 12. And not just one of the 12, but number 12 himself. I had always found the decisions made by the 12 to be sublime. Their love for culture, unity, authority, it was all splendid. I think it was me all along. That in loops prior, I had taken hold of what I so desired. How sublime, how serendipitous. To think that reality had favoured me so. But this was only just the beginning. To think I had been chosen on this very timeline to carry out that final stage of our plan. It was too much to bear. It has forever changed me. I have not been the same since that fateful day. No kidding, it sent you completely mad. You think I'm out of my mind? No, I'm just out of yours. Such lofty things are difficult for the simple to understand. When I learned of their plans, the multitude of prior loops that led to this very moment, it was hard to not be so affected. You see, AEON is the culmination of all of Bosk's planning. Once it is launched, there will never be any need for another loop. It'll be the final reality, the way out of the spiral and the perfect union of Sephiroth. Humanity's final salvation. You keep mentioning AEON. Are you going to tell us what it is or not? Yes, I shall indulge you before you partake in the feast for yourselves. The message I received on that day detailed their plans. Project AEON was the sum total of all of humanity's evolution in every single regard. Biology, religion, physics, and philosophy all intersect to bring all things together for their ultimate fulfillment. The pandemic was an evil, but it was not the ultimate evil. Bosk was formed to keep humanity safe and entrusted with using the temper system to achieve its aims. So it clearly followed that understanding, the ultimate evil be paramount in finding ultimate safety. It was decided by Bosk, under my guidance it seems, to spend as many loops as necessary to accumulate as much knowledge as needed to find the answers beneath it all. That was our solemn duty to humanity. Beneath it all? Beneath what? Ah, but this was part of the question. Even knowing the right question to ask of reality was part of the endeavour, to find the true answers obscured by the splintering of our consciousness. Bosk split the research up into divisions to be carried out across loops. The goal was to figure out what we could learn across all disciplines, to see if there was a guiding light to humanity to be found in all our knowledge. All philosophies and religions were cross-referenced and examined. History, biology, cosmology, all things were explored and then conferred with one another to find commonalities in their narratives, theories and stories. And they found it, or should I say we found it, the thread of God himself. Beckett stands to Lionel's side, himself weighing up the gravity of the information being presented to him. I'll put it another way to make this simple. What do you think all things have in common? Only silence greets Lionel as a response. The first evolution. All of creation, from the Big Bang to humans themselves, are in a state of change, a form of actualization. What does this evolution point towards? What is creation trying to become? What is creation trying to accomplish? Indeed, all religions strive toward this question. The ultimate state, nirvana, heaven, whatever language that could be put to it. It is the ultimate consecration of what we could all hope towards as individuals, as a species. Even scientific endeavor drives to this goal. The end of suffering through medicines, communication tools that connect us, again, all driving toward trying to realize this perfect state we intuit, but have never grasped nor experienced. Priest, scientist and drug addict alike, all longing to achieve the perfect state. But do you know the key issue we found in all our loops? The one thing that stood in our way from achieving such a state? We don't need to hear the ravings of a lunatic. Will you not listen to reason? The culmination of all the knowledge of humanity made manifest? Man, the way this guy talks really makes me want to slog him in the face. I shouldn't expect all to understand. Not such as humanity is now. I shall not hold this against you, for the fault is with the factoring of creation and consciousness itself. This was not your doing. AEON, the perfect unity of the 10 nodes of the Tree of Life, will bring all things to their intended state. What are you saying, sir? Beckett stands anxious to hear Bosk's plan and his role in it all, having been left in the dark from the beginning. From our research, fracturing between people is the cause of the most significant suffering in the world, and so the most significant disruption to our forward movement as a species. That is, it is the inability to connect and communicate that leads us to all manner of evils, and halting of our evolution. What is communication? The tool humanity invented to share one another's thoughts, feelings, and to help them cooperate with one another. When are people truly happy? We found when people are understood, valued, and achieving. What is achieving? Achieving is defined by our peers, when people esteem our contributions. In other words, when we play our part in our ongoing evolution. Even your brain chemistry on a fundamental level is regulated by these indicators, whether you want them to be or not. Then it became clear we seek an optimum state as a species, and this state is closer to being achieved, the less fractured humanity becomes. The more united we are in our quest for evolution, the more fulfilled we become. Yes, it is the separation that truly tortures us, being misunderstood, being alone, being undervalued. Think on this. You who are gathered here. Why do we love art, music, and stories so much? Is it not because it connects us? It has a depth of communication that stirs us at a level that our conscious minds can't possibly connect. I'm getting some strong Neon Genesis Evangelion vibes up in here. Carry on. They help us unite to move forward together with common purpose, and so Bosk sought to bring to completion that which evolution had failed to do, but that which our brain is most highly adapted for, unity as a species. Yes, that which we deeply long for but haven't been able to achieve, Bosk would bring to completion. It's what we call collective homeostasis. All human minds will dwell together in perfect bliss, no longer weighed by the pain and fracturing wrought by human individuality. Meanwhile, your bodies will work the earth to sustain life in a manner separate to your minds, governed by the system to find a balance with nature, never possible in the splintered age of chaos. No longer shall work be a toil, no longer will humanity be as a virus acting to destroy the earth. How could anyone deny the brilliance and perfection of this plan, a total and final solution to all evils? You really are insane. Are you saying you want our bodies to go on working outside of our conscious awareness? You really want everyone to be mindless? It's not so much as mindless as it is to be of one mind, a hive mind. When you experience it, you will come to know this was what we were made for all along, and that it was the fracturing of consciousness into individuals that was the greatest evil. Yes, by combining, we will be giving birth to what could truly be called God. That is actually the fucking plot of Neon Genesis Evangelion, right? Right? If I'm remembering correctly. For God is the culmination of all that is good, that which he would sacrifice all for. Now is the time for us to be united with God, to sacrifice all to become at one. True atonement. That isn't God. This is just your arrogance. You've just invented a hollow mimic of the reality. Is that so? Well, the stage is set, so we will soon see what reality will be. So, could you explain how AEON functions to achieve this? Beckett sees things in much simpler terms, looking for the straight facts through Lionel's long, impassioned rants. After this began the process of determining how to best achieve the state of collective homeostasis. The ancient ways gave us the target to aim at, but not the path to walk. So we looked to what we could learn through the ages of social media, the manipulation of knowledge, the data accumulated from the metaverse and ID systems, as well as the advancement of AI-based algorithms. But there was something missing, a key ingredient needed to truly combine these. It was then that we happened upon a device that would lead our breakthrough and the development of the AEON system. In fact, its inventor is right here. What? Yes, and without you, Dr. Shaw, as well as Beckett here, it may not have been discovered. Oh, how everything comes together, how sublime. That's right, it was you, Dr. Shaw, who invented the technology that would be used to develop the AEON system. A technology that can directly interfere with the brain, the orb that he made, turning digital information into brain signals and back again. No, you don't mean. Yes, I do. Agent Beckett here captured you in a prior loop, just like he did in this one. That orb of yours we got a hold of became the basis for the technology that would birth Project AEON. The basic principle of how to interface digital signals with brainwaves without the need for crude and flawed implant chips was all we needed to get started. And now, after countless loops since, the system has been perfected. It can't be. Yes, it can be. Yes, indeed it was so. To think that two pieces of technology that give rise to all this, the Temper system and the AEON system, would come unknowingly from the same man. This is why I have you here, to witness what you have given birth to. The man chosen by fate as the final witness. Am I responsible for all of this? Oh man, we should do a butterfly effect. He needs to go back in time and then stop himself from ever being born. No, Elijah, don't listen to him. And so the AEON system will connect all human minds directly, using all the accumulated knowledge of all ages. It is driven by an AI developed using algorithms that balance all human wants and needs between all people. Finally, true equality will be achieved. Our tests have proved the experience in AEON is pure bliss. All brain chemistry will be put into its most pleasurable state. All will act in accordance with the whole. All will live as nodes of a greater consciousness. Indeed, all will be a part of that consciousness themselves. This is the state that all humans have longed for. This is nirvana. This is heaven. This is the eternal AEON, spoken from time immemorial. Humanity will be reborn and evil eradicated. Human suffering will end. Working together on this level, nothing will be impossible for us. Even death shall be conquered. I can't listen to much more of this crackhead. You gonna shut up anytime soon? Yes, the time for talking will come to an end. Perfect communication on a much deeper level will become the norm. Let me guess, you aren't gonna subject to this AEON system yourself, will you? Some must bear the burden to stay out here and caretake from the outside for the sake of others' bliss. How convenient for you. Agent Beckett. Lionel shifts demeanor and turns his attention to the man by his side. Yes, sir. You have earned my trust. Despite a clear sabotage attempt against you involving the Temper system, you overcame it all to fulfill your mission. This validates your claim to the position held by you in the future. Communicated to me through the Temper system. Soon, we will start the AEON system. The final preparations are occurring as we speak. Before that, we need to lodge your status on the system so you aren't affected. Follow my attendant to the back room where you'll be shown to our terminal. After logging in with your neural ID and biometrics, you'll be logged as one of the few privileged to stand on the outside and caretake the world. You will remain unaffected when the system starts. Thank you, sir. This is a big privilege. You have earned it. Lionel switches to address the group with a thunderous voice. Hold tight. We shall return shortly as we usher in the new era together. Beckett retreats out back, following the attendant as instructed. As Lionel exits also, but through the passage on the opposite side. The clear platform holding Lionel's seat recedes, leaving the group bound and alone, as when they first came in. Shit a brick. This got fucking intense. The attendant leads Beckett into a sizable room, the central command terminal at Bosk Tower.
Log in using the terminal in front of you. It will read your neural ID and biometrics, and confirm your registration to leadership level privileges, syncing it up to your account.
Leadership privileges?
The process should be straightforward. I'll be waiting outside if you need me.
The attendant backs out of the room as Beckett slowly approaches the imposing console before him. Touching his hand on the login panel, a clear confirmation rings out. Neural ID scan congruent, but not conclusive, confirming with biometric markers. Beckett waits a few more nervous seconds for the next stage to proceed. Identification confirmed. Running automatic neural ID update to AEON system leadership level privileges. Please wait for tasks to complete. In the cold, empty room, Beckett stands alone and waits when he notices something unusual before him on the terminal screen. Looks like I'm logged into a leadership account of some kind. This must be the account dashboard. Wait, what does that say? Beckett's eyes grow wide as something on the screen before him catches his attention. Tempest inbox. My account is connected to the Tempest system? This thing must also be a terminal for the Tempest system. I guess that it makes sense given where we are. Wait, there's a message. A single unopened message, nothing else. Beckett navigates the console to get more information as a nervous electricity covers his body. It's not what I'm here for, but maybe I should try opening it? Although the neural ID update he came for is completed, still he is drawn to get more information on the message in his Tempest box. Attempting to open the message, a prompt suddenly appears on screen. Layered encryption activated. Please confirm Tempest access. Enter a user designation below. I guess you need to type in the user code below the open message. As if neural ID and biometrics weren't enough. But what could the code be? You will need to enter a user code followed by a password. Upon entering the incorrect code, you will have options to gain extra hints. Use your keyboard to enter the code, then press enter. What? I don't fucking know. Oh man. Alright, save. Beckett? Beckett's user identification? Let's just throw Beckett. Oh, only three letters. 3 letters. The 3 letters are Roman numeral. Oh, 7. Okay. I should have figured that one out. Because he's number 7, right? That's him. He's number 7. User designation confirmed. Please enter password. Man, I don't know this one either. Alright, let me think about this. Is it 3 digits again? No. It's 7 digits. Beckett? No. Go on, give me a hint. Enigma file 7, alright, fine. Enigma file 17. Oh. Survive. I see. Beckett's creed. He's such an asshole. He might even turn against Bosk here when he finds out whatever this message is. But you know what? Even if he does and saves the day, I fucking hate him still. And he should still fuck off and die. Password confirmed. Verification complete. Opening mailbox. Welcome, 7. I'm in, but why am I logged into this account? And why was that the password? Could it mean... Beckett momentarily pauses in reflection before returning his focus to uncover more information about the message before him. The message was received 7 months ago, and it's an unopened video file. It says it was sent to 7 under high leadership level account encryption. Just what is this? Beckett is about to open the file when he hesitates. Should I really open this? Lyle didn't send me here for that. I guess I have to open it. It may shed some light on what the hell's going on. Beckett navigates down to open the file and presses the confirmation button. It's the founder. Hello, Agent Beckett. I can only hope this message made it to you in time. I'm going to need you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Is the founder Beckett's dad? Everything may rest in your hands. I'm guessing too much at all this. Meanwhile, in the main hall, the group struggle to no avail as the hopelessness of their plight begins to alight on them. Damn it. We can't even change any of this now that we have disrupted the Tempest system. What did we do? I don't know. We did all we could. I guess even the founder couldn't have predicted it happening this way. So much for his promises, and finding out how this all fits together. The group stand despondent, tightly shackled and unable to think of a single way out of their plight. Xylot, I'm sorry I won't be able to keep that promise. That holiday to the snow? Well, at least we'll head into the Oblivion together. Elijah tries to extend his hand towards Zyla, but he can't reach due to their shackles. Through the Oblivion gate. Off to Maroon's, Dagon's fucking realm. I'm glad to be at your side here at the end. After a short while, the platform arises before them once again. Beckett, with subdued voice, apologizes to Lionel beside him. Sorry, sir, it took longer than expected. It's okay. For now, all the pieces have assembled. Lionel then turns to those ahead as he raises his voice aloft. Behold! We are ready to call the curtains on this, the final hour of the old humanity. You've lost your mind. Do you even understand what you're about to do? No, I don't. I don't fully understand just how grand a transition this truly is. All change is met with sadness, yes. How understandable your trepidation, how noble your hearts. Yet now such nobility serves no purpose. Such nobility may have use to holding a tradition that will see longevity established, though now is not such a time. No. Now is the time when the ancient ways have found their fulfillment. They have served their purpose, and as everything is beautiful in its time has passed. Shut that ugly mouth of yours, I'm sick of hearing your crazed crap. Could you be any more in love with yourself? Right, I do apologize, for I've been savouring this moment. You're right, the time for talk is at an end. The seven, gathered and bound, struggled against their restraints, but no movement to freedom is found. Is this really how it ends? Beckett! Elijah bellows out to the man on the platform before him. Are you just as crazy as him? Is this really what you support? What you believe in? How many people has he killed since we started this game? Beckett doesn't react emotionally, but gives a straight reply. I believe in power, and that it must be proven. For all you have said, and all I have heard, I still have no reason to think otherwise. The Bureau and those who rule it from the future have shown their power and superiority. Everything else is childish stupidity. What can you show me otherwise to doubt their power? Power isn't everything. What about what's right? What about the people you're forcibly changing forever? The winners have always written history. What is right is always defined by those with the power who write the rules. Power is morality. Morality bends its knees to its rulers. The people then fall in line with that vision of the world. That vision of behaviour is then what the people call morality. Unlike you, I won't avert my eyes from the truth of this world. How could you possibly believe that? Do you even hear yourself? Are you just as twisted as him? Enough. The time for silence is at hand, and the time for us all to stand in awe. Watchers, is the system prepared? Yes, sir. Then start the sequence. The time has now come. The lights lower as the droning begins to usher in the fulfillment of his plans. The orb above begins to emit a light, unsettling as it is enrapturing. Yes, you shall now be absorbed in eternal joy, as all suffering is finally snuffed out. No amount of struggle is able to remove the seven from their plight, as the dread of the encroaching light grows. I'm sorry, Zyla. It looks like this is goodbye. Elijah, goodbye everyone. At least we were together at the end. Behold, your trials and struggles have met their end. The perfect has arrived. Humanity has birthed anew. Adam Cadman has incarnated. Elijah watches as the herald of the new age is overtaken by the dooming light. We've completely failed it. Apologies on the long episode. There's just no real good place to wrap it up, you know what I mean? An unknowable swirl fills Elijah's mind. Geometric patterns of dimensions incommunicable, harbouring knowledge transcended, is the only word he momentarily can discern. With it, the structures bring waves of meaning, purpose, fulfillment and connection. It is an utterly foreign world, though one, to him, that, if anything, is more real than anything he's experienced before. He understands in this moment, all are one, and one is all. Such a peace and warmth he has never known, as the shreds of individuality seem to him to be slowly shed with the passing of time. Yet as the time passes, to Elijah there is a growing disconcert, something false and hollow underneath it all. Some form of warning that starts to grow, poking holes in and exposing the shallowness of this world for what it is. What's going on? Is this heaven? Did I die? No, if this is truly heaven, she'd be here with me. This is no heaven. That's right, this must be inside the AEON system. But I can still think. I'm still here. Wasn't my mind supposed to be totally absorbed by the system? How have I kept my individuality? Maybe because you have 3 in there? Elijah feels suspended, as if in limbo or purgatory before something unusual begins to take shape. A figure much resembling his own crystallizes before him, pulling him into a void world of distorted white. So we finally meet. You look like me. Are you one of the other visions of myself? Is this all happening in my head? Well, something like that, I suppose you could say. We certainly aren't anything less than that. But how is this even happening? Wasn't my consciousness supposed to be absorbed into the AEON system? How am I able to think for myself? We don't have much time. I'm doing what I can to stop the AEON system for the moment. Listen carefully to me. We're going to send you back, and you need to find a way to shut off the AEON system. You're the only one who can do that now. Send me back? You saying there's a way for people to break free from the AEON system? No, there isn't. There isn't. At least not normally. You're the only exception. The only one who can go back. You must find a way to stop the system, and quickly, before everybody is so thoroughly ingrained into the system there's no way back for them. Why am I able to go back? I don't understand what's happening. The AEON system works by syncing the brainwaves with brainwave signals, tricking the brain into adopting the patterns that it's transmitting as its own. It does this by using available unused space in the brain to map onto, and then override the old brain state. It's much like how the orb device we designed functions. Wait a minute, what are you saying? You're the one person who doesn't have that available space due to using the orb. Mental signatures of your other selves have been triggered now that AEON is attempting to utilize that same space. Your current personality is especially created, birthed even, for the suppression of this type of brainwave state. It is how you manage to recover and survive. In a sense, your brainwave has become its kryptonite. These factors mean you're the only person who can resist the AEON system now. I'm the only one who can resist it? Yes, but only for a short while. You must go now and find a way to shut off the system before it's too late. We will continue to shield you until you find a way to stop it. After all, we're being synced to the system as we speak. This is our chance to atone for our sins. You can shield me? Are you one of my other selves, or both combined? There has to be a reason why you look older than me. Is that how we appear to you? I see. After all, we are a form of unity, arrived at through those events. I don't understand, this isn't making sense. Or is this all just a construct of my own imagination? I'm not sure there is so clear a boundary between those things anymore. You will understand when it is your time to cross over to the other side, at the time of reconstitution, but that time isn't now. In any event, the AEON system is seeking to overwhelm and override our presence so it can take control over you. The AI governing it is seeking to erase the signature completely. All we can do is buy you time. It will destroy us to do so, but that is a sacrifice we must make. Our time has come. You have learned all you can from our stories now. You must find a way. You find your own way from here. It'll destroy you? Will I forget everything I've learned from your lives then? No. You've now synthesized our experiences as your own memories, from when you entered the sync machine. You're no more than useless onlookers by this point, if you could call us even that. Having a grounded tether was useful for the time, but it is time for us to return to where we belong. We leave it in your hands. Now go stop the AEON system. I don't know how. Even if I did, Lionel and Beckett are waiting on the outside. How can I defeat the whole of Bosk by myself? Trust the path you've been set. Didn't you learn anything from what you saw in that sync machine? You saw we all went through the other timelines. It was only because, and through all of your sufferings to this point, you were able to be here. Even the mistakes, the pain, the tragedies, everything has led you to this point. It is only through and because of that exact sequence of events that you alone are able to break free of the system. Our sufferings and losses have made and equipped you for what no other can do. It doesn't make everything right, nor does it make sense, even in hindsight. I know the senseless things you've been through, that life isn't so convenient or simple as to all make sense to us, though it does mean you alone bear the ability to turn this around. Now, it isn't to be taken lightly. You have to understand this is far bigger than you. You made it this far, and even though it may look dire, you have to believe it was for some reason, and that you'll be able to find a way to stop the AEON system. Believe. What is it that I truly believe? If you leave, you won't survive. Humanity is better off this way. Doesn't ignorant bliss beat this spiral of constant suffering? Maybe AEON is the only true escape. Don't allow that voice back in. There is only one thing to be done now. You have to listen to me. At the point of the final decision, Elijah... Alright, we're going to wrap this one up here. Because we're going to have a couple more endings. And this is already an hour long. I'm not going to cut this one up because there's no really good times to do it. So apologies for the hour-long episode. We're just going to leave it as is. Because that all flowed really well, and I just don't want to break the flow, you know what I mean? But this seems like a good a time as any to wrap it up. And I guess we'll have a couple of endings in the next episode. Heed the Apparition obviously is going to be a bad ending. No, Heed the Apparition is the good ending. Steps into the AEON is the bad ending. But yeah, we'll figure that out in the next one. Until then, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next episode.